Hey, Grandpa, why don't you take a seat?
Kyle says, his tone dripping with feigned sweetness.
Oh, wait, I forgot. You don't have a reserved spot for war heroes here.
His friends laugh. Richard at last raises his eyes. His gaze, gray, biting, unflinching, sets on Kyle's face. They think he's weak, that he's just an old man. But what they don't know is who's waiting for him at the next stop. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the True Threads for more gripping stories that hit hard. Now let's step into the metro and into a storm these thugs never saw coming. The metro doors hiss open to a packed train full of the typical mix of passengers. Office workers with their faces buried in their phones, college kids talking in hushed tones, and an old man sleeping in the corner. The air is thick with apathy during rush hour. In the midst of all this, Colonel Richard Dawson, Retinakurakan, enters. At 90 years old, he no longer draws attention like he used to. His uniform is gone, traded for a tattered military coat, buttoned tightly around him as if still shivering against the cold wind of a battlefield. His chest sports a line of medals, faded but still shining under the cold train lights. No one gives them a glance. His walk is slow but purposeful, and his tap of the wooden cane on the floor is rhythmic as he navigates through the car, looking for an empty seat. But there is not one. No one gives him one. A sudden jerk of the train nearly knocks him off his feet, but he holds onto a metal pole, bracing himself. He's been in tighter spots. War was his teacher. War taught him patience too. A few feet off, leaning against the train doors, a group of young men observes him, 5 of them. Late 20s in ripped jeans, leather jackets, smirky looks on their faces, the type that feasts on vulnerability. Urban jungle predators. The tallest of the lot, Kyle, cants his head, regarding the old man the way a wolf would regard an injured deer. His pierced eyebrow goes up, and a lazy grin spreads wide on his mouth. He pushes the guy sitting next to him, whispering something. The rest of them titter. Richard registers their glares. He doesn't look, doesn't acknowledge them, but he can sense it. Something is brewing. A jolt of the train sends a ripple through the passengers. Someone knocks against Richard's side. He clamps his hand around the pole. Kyle moves forward. "Hey, old man," he shouts so loudly that half the train can hear him. Richard doesn't respond. Kyle smiles. "What's wrong? Can't hear me? Guess you left your ears back in the war, huh?" The group laughs. A low, mocking sound. A few passengers glance up but quickly look away, returning to their phones. Richard exhales slowly. He's seen this before. Not on a train, not with smug little punks who have never felt real fear, but in battle, where weakness was preyed upon, where hesitation meant death. Bullies exist everywhere. Kyle steps closer. He encroaches on Richard's space, standing over him. The train jolts along a tunnel, the flickering lights creating temporary shadows across Kyle's face. "Hey, Grandpa," Kyle says, his tone dripping with feigned sweetness. "Why don't you sit down?" "Oh, wait, my bad. Looks like nobody cares about war heroes anymore." His friends laugh. Richard at last raises his eyes. His gaze, gray, biting, unflinching, sets on Kyle's face. For an instant, the laughter ceases. Whatever it is about that look, cold, calculating, impassive, causes Kyle's smirk to waver. He changes his stance on his feet, clearing his throat. It's subtle, but Richard notices. A weakness, a crack. Kyle regains his footing. He scoffs, directed at his friends. "Looks like we got ourselves a tough guy." The train lurches again, a sharp, sudden turn. Richard holds onto the pole, steady. Kyle doesn't. He stumbles, then recovers. Richard doesn't flinch. The predator just demonstrated he can slip. Kyle mutters under his breath, annoyed now. He needs to take control back. With a swift movement, he snatches out, quickly, Richard's hat off his head. The action is intentional, disrespectful. The whole train appears to stop. Kyle spins the hat around in his fingers. Damn, this thing is old. Bet it's seen some real action, huh? He flips it inside out, making a show of examining it. Or maybe it just smells like mothballs. The others burst out laughing. Richard remains silent, but his hands, still holding the pole, contract ever so slightly. Kyle throws the hat to a friend. The thug snatches it, spinning it around his finger as if it were a basketball. Mockery, a game. Richard stands motionless, waiting, calculating. The train decelerates. The PA system comes alive, listing the upcoming station. Almost there. Kyle leans in, quieting his voice just a little so only Richard can hear. What's the matter, soldier boy? Ain't got a fight left in you? His breath is like cheap gum and haughtiness. Richard doesn't blink, doesn't react. Instead, he observes. Counts. 5 of them. Kyle, the leader. 2 behind him, 1 by the doors, 1 still playing with his hat. Richard blinks, slowly. He's been in worse situations. The train hisses to a stop. The doors slide open. Richard straightens his coat, adjusting it carefully. Then without a word, without so much as a glance at Kyle, he steps forward. Through the doors, his cane clicks against the platform as he walks. Kyle observes him leave, his smirk back on his face. He nods at his friends. Let's go have some more fun. The thugs trail behind him. The game isn't over. Not yet. The metro station is dark, the fluorescent lights flashing overhead. The air has the scent of wet concrete and something metallic. Maybe from the antiquated tracks, or maybe from something more sinister. Colonel Richard Dawson emerges. His pace is slow, measured, but there is no uncertainty. His cane thumps against the tiled floor, a rhythmic click, click, click. He can sense it. They're tailing him. The goons stalk like shadows, basing out, making like they are just messing around. Kyle struts at the center, hands stuffed into his jacket pockets, smirk never wavering. His buddies fan out behind him. There are no police officers in sight, no security guards. Only a handful of passengers too engrossed in their own worlds to pay attention to the predator and prey dance happening right before their eyes. Richard doesn't hesitate. He continues walking. Nearly there. The exit sign lights red in the distance, a stairway going up to the city. To safety, but safety is not a certainty. Not yet. Behind him, footsteps get closer, faster, close. Richard clenches his cane in his hand. He recognizes this. Being tracked, being pursued. Something he hasn't experienced in a long time, not since the war. And yet he finds himself there. His heart does not pound. His breathing remains even. He has known death before, and death never manifested itself in the guise of a cowardly pack of street rats. A sudden voice interrupts the silence. Hey, old man! Richard hesitates. A mistake. The instant he does, Kyle is on him. A gusty push from behind. Not hard enough to push him off balance, but hard enough to cause him to step forward. Laughter. Richard tightens his grip on the railing, his old knuckles whitening. He does not turn around. A second voice, one of Kyle's friends. What's the hurry, Grandpa? We just want to talk. Richard breathes slowly. He's within a step of the top of the stairs. Almost. Kyle steps in front of him now, blocking his path. His smirk is gone, replaced by something colder, meaner. You don't just walk away from us. Richard looks up at him. His face is unreadable, calm, dangerous. Kyle chuckles. You think you're better than us, huh? His fingers flex. A punch is coming. Richard knows. He can see it in Kyle's stance. The shift in his weight, the tightening of his jaw. The moment of hesitation before a predator strikes, but before Kyle can throw it. A deep, rumbling voice echoes from the top of the stairs. Take your hands off my father. Silence. Kyle freezes. So do his friends. The air shifts. Richard doesn't need to look up. He recognizes that voice. Kyle turns slowly. His confidence blinks. At the head of the stairs is a man. Tall. Shoulders as wide as a gym door. black tactical jacket, a presence so powerful it feels like the entire station just cooled. Delta Force Commander Michael Dawson. His expression is inscrutable, but his blue eyes smolder with something raw. A threat, a vow. Kyle's smirk has disappeared now. The station is still, too still. Then Michael moves a step closer, and the pursuit turns around. The air thickens. No one stirs. No one utters a word. Kyle's smirk has long vanished. His cocky self-assurance flashes, replaced by something else, doubt. His friends shift in discomfort. The mood is altered. They can all sense it. Michael Dawson looms at the head of the stairs like a specter of judgment. Unfaltering, unyielding, irresistible. The son of the man they just tried to embarrass. A Delta Force commander. A man trained to take men like them apart without sweating. Kyle swallows, his jaw clenching. He won't back down. Not in front of his team. Not now, he sneers. Who the hell are you? Michael takes a step forward. His boots ring on the cold concrete. One step, then another. Slow, deliberate, like a predator stalking its prey. Richard watches without a word. There is no fear in his old battle-worn eyes. Only patience. He knows exactly what is about to happen. Kyle forces a grin, a last attempt at control. You think I'm scared of you? Michael doesn't answer. Instead, he moves, faster than anyone expects. One step, a weight shift, a flash of movement, and then Kyle is flying in reverse. His body crashes into the tiled wall with a sickening thud. His breath explodes out of his lungs in a sharp gasp. His friends stiffen. Their leader, the one who always ran his mouth, always made the rules, lies on the ground, coughing. Michael doesn't even look at him. His eyes land on the rest of them. A silent challenge. Come at me. No one moves. Kyle groans, struggling to push himself up. His ego, his pride, shattered. Anger flickers in his eyes. He reaches for something in his jacket. A knife. A bad choice. Because the second his fingers graze the handle, Michael strikes again. A lightning-fast kick to Kyle's wrist sends the blade clattering across the floor. Kyle howls in pain. Michael doesn't stop. He grabs Kyle by the collar, slams him against the wall, and leans in close. His voice, low, lethal. You put your hands on my father. Kyle trembles. His friends are already backing away. One of them stammers, Hey man, we didn't know. Michael's gaze snaps to him. Just one look, and the thug shuts up. Richard watches, his face unreadable. This isn't his fight anymore. It's his son's, and his son is winning. Michael releases Kyle with a shove. Kyle stumbles, grasping his wrist. His breathing is raw, his confidence totally broken. Michael stands up straight. He does not say anything. He does not have to. The point has been made. Kyle is aware of that. So are his friends. Never again. There are no words. The bullies spin and take flight. Michael follows them as they disappear into the night. Then gradually he turns toward his father. For the first time since entering the station, his face relaxes. Are you hurt? Richard takes a breath. A small, wry smile plays on his lips. Took you long enough. Michael laughs, a sound that is not common, a sound of relief. Then without saying a word, he moves forward and puts a firm hand on his father's shoulder. The past and the present, a warrior and his son, side by side together. And as they walk up the stairs into the night, justice has already been served.